Hey everyone, it's ajbarse, your friendly neighborhood instructional technologist, and in this video I want to go through a couple of different ways that you can do screen recording on your Mac, PC, or Linux. Okay, so one of the most common questions that I get is, how do I do this? How do I do a floating head on top of content? And that, as I've mentioned before, I have a green screen behind me. If I were to actually lift this up, you could kind of see that I'm using this as a way to knock out my background. Now, different apps do this in different ways, and I want to show you kind of the Basecamp to Everest approach of how you can do lecture capture using a wide myriad of either free or free enough apps. So the first thing is, if you're a Mac user, I want to get this one out of the way because it's platform specific, is you can simply just use QuickTime, or if you're on the new Catalina, it's called Screenshot. And when you activate it, you can do a search for it or run it through QuickTime. You can do simple stills such as entire screen, window select, etc. But you can also do recording the entire screen, or you can window frame things. And I typically use this on my Mac, especially if I'm doing really quick videos of like, here's how to send an email or change your email signature. I use this for very short tutorial stuff where you really don't need to see me, you just need to hear me. The reason why I say that is because in Screenshot, you can capture your screen and you can capture an external microphone or an internal microphone as well, but you can't do the floating head thing like you're seeing. So if you're just doing a simple presentation like a PowerPoint and you need to narrate and you're on a Mac, this is really an easy and free and built-in way to record your lectures. So next up is MonoSnap. It's a free enough tool that you can get on either a Mac, Windows, or even Chrome. And what this allows you to do is, if I run MonoSnap, you get this little lightning bolt up on the top. And what we can do is, much like I just showed in QuickTime or Screenshot, you can do a capture area or capture full screen as a static image. For videos, if we hit record on video, we get something very similar to, say, screencastomatic. And what you can see, hey, there's my green. Well, that's kind of cool. You can kind of see the two of us. So what you can see here is that you can do the floating approach, but without the knocked out background. So what MonoSnap's really good at is, if you need to do just a simple you and you don't have a green screen, this is a great way to just be able to do a lecture capture with you in the bottom corner or whatever corner you want with your content. Under settings, you have some cool features like you can go up to 60 frames a second if your hardware supports it. You can also capture both your mouse cursor and mouse click, so it'll actually do a little animation when you click on something. You can plug in an external microphone if you have a nice microphone, or you can also just turn off the webcam thing and you don't want to be seen. That's totally fine. If you do want to have your face seen, you can go ahead and move this anywhere you want, and you can adjust it as big or as small as you want or don't want to be in your videos. Like I said, it's a free tool, and it's really good, especially if you're trying to do stuff that you want to level up from Basecamp and make your way up to the Everest of recordings. And if you don't have a green screen, this is a really good way of going about this. I use this probably a good 50% of the time of when I'm doing screen recordings. Next up is kind of the obvious hitter, screencastomatic. So screencastomatic is your kind of turnkey solution. If we're making up our way from Basecamp, we're ascending that first slope, and maybe we're at that second tier camp on the mountain of screen recordings, and that's kind of where screencastomatic is. I use this probably a good, I don't know, 60 to 70% of the time, because it's really turnkey, especially through Western. When we hit record, you can launch the recorder that we all know and love. And of course, you can select from your screen, just your webcam or both, which is what I have going on here. So the thing that you may not have noticed is the magic wand. So if we hit magic wand, you'll notice that it's noticing my green background and it's keying it out. What's nice about this is that you also have some basic tools. We can adjust the tolerance to make sure that we're keying out enough of the content as you want. And we can also specify what our key color is. Let's say you're not using a nice green screen. Maybe you have something blue or red. Well, you can use the color picker and select the exact color so that you can key it out a lot easier. Now, I also do this typically every time that I record, because I'm usually by a big window and the light of day kind of changes. So to make sure that I have the right color and it's nicely keyed, I'll come in here and re-eyedropper it anyway. So That's how you can do it within Screencast-O-Matic. Once you have it and you have it set to wherever you'd like, when you record, it records that layer and then you have it in Screencast-O-Matic. So last, but by no means least, the Everest, which is OBS. OBS stands for Open Broadcast Software, and you've probably seen the output of this application lots of times. You just didn't know it. It's available for Mac, Windows, and Linux, and what this is basically a video switcher built into software. So if you have different inputs, such as your phone, or a camera, or an external camera, or whatever you can put into your computer, OBS tries to take so that it mixes it live, predominantly for live streams, but it's a great recorder. So what I'm going to show in my next tutorial is how I set up OBS to do what I'm doing right now, which, by the way, you've been watching this whole thing in OBS.